Baby, you are now rocking with the best role parish on your screen. You see the legend right next to me, Jesse Holly. We looking good. We feeling good. Bleav in the Cowboys. Hey, man, it's kind of a slow time because we know we're getting ready for training camp right now. How are we feeling, though, as we approach training camp? We're just a little bit away.
Ro, one thing I'll say this from a player's perspective, and now being on the media side, looking at this time away, this is one of the moments in time, and it just when you said go, it just came to my head. This is the time of year that coaches love and dread at the same time. Coaches say, you know what, I get out the office, spend time with my family, get a chance to reset, have a little time to myself, and just do some things that are outside of football. But when you have 90 dudes under your care, you are waiting with bated breath every single time your phone get to buzzing. Phone get to ringing, phone get to buzzing, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on? And this is one of those times where, you try to have a mature group of players because you want to make sure that guys are going home, right? Bill Parcells famously said, nothing good happens after midnight. So, I just thought about that. Man, and it's a lot of players for the Cowboys that are all over the place. And this time right now can be one of those times.
No, it definitely be one of those times a year because there isn't much going on. And as you said, coaches love this time, as you alluded to originally, because there's not a lot on their plate as far as responsibilities. They get time off. They get time to do what they need to do. But then players got time too. And as I pointed out my wife, hey, we got time today. So we try to go out here and live our best lives. So some players live their best lives differently than others. Yeah. But nevertheless, all that said, we're still looking at our watch, waiting on Micah Parsons to be signed, waiting on that contract extension. Still nothing has happened yet. Maybe you have some insight. Maybe you don't. Your thoughts on everything going on with Micah Parsons?
Yeah, still nothing. Still quiet at the ranch. Nothing happening right now at the start with Micah Parsons in this contract situation. It's one that we will continue to watch and continue to look after and see if there's any type of tea leaves that we can look at and read through. We know the deal will eventually get done. I just hope and pray that it's not during a time where I'm laying by somebody's pool. You know what I mean? I'm somewhere maxing and relaxing, my feet up. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be sitting in the pedicure chair and all of a sudden my phone go buzzing off because Micah signed and now I got to run to somebody's computer and get on the computer and do streams and all that kind of other stuff. So I just, Jerry, if you listen, okay, this is Jerry. Give me a second. This is just me talking to you, buddy, old friend, old pal. You're a good dude, okay, Jerry. Despite what they say about you, I like you. Okay, you've been keeping me fed. You've been keeping checks coming to my address since 2009, and I appreciate that. I really do. And those around me, they do as well. But do us all a great favor, my friend. Just get this deal done. As I get older, Jerry, you understand this, that we don't have time for a bad time. We want to use all of these days for good moments. So I don't want to be somewhere. I don't want to be sitting somewhere, and you never know. It might be a nice little lady sitting beside me. You just never know how it might go, Jerry. I don't want that to happen, and all of a sudden my phone get to ringing and buzzing, and because you decided on a Saturday, and I could be somewhere where the sand is warm and the water is warm and clear, that I got to run to some Wi-Fi because I got to do some shows, Jerry. So just do us all a favor, man. Let's get this thing done. But I'll give you a little reprieve, okay? Let's get it done before we get to the 4th of July weekend, okay? Let's get it done before we get to the 4th of July weekend. That way we can all go and enjoy our weekend. Those who enjoy a good libation can have the libation. Those who enjoy some good cookouts and some grilling, they can go grill without the worry of is the laptop charged up, without the worry of is the Wi-Fi strong enough, without the worry of having to go into some coat closet because you got guests at the crib having a good time, and now you got to go to another small room because you don't want the disturbance of the noise happening around. I give you a couple weeks. You got a couple weeks. Just get this thing done before we get to the 4th of July weekend, please. Come on. If I mean anything to you, Jerry, can we go way back? Please get this thing done.
That is hilarious right there. Jerry Jones, he was talking directly to you, and no one else was listening. We promise. No one else was listening.
No one else.
Hey, shouts out to Myles Garrett also, by the way, who is quietly, when asked about Micah Parsons, has been acting like he's David Mulligetta as far as, voicing his praise and saying that, Micah deserves to get paid as well. I like seeing that because, sometimes dudes, and this, not everybody's your friend in the league. And sometimes players pocket watch, they might hate on you. But I like the fact that Myles Garrett came out and voiced his support of Micah Parsons getting paid.
Well, Myles don't have to pocket watch because currently, right now, his pockets are the one that have already been filled. Okay, Mike is trying to get where Myles is at. He's trying to get that contract. He's trying to get the record-setting contract. But Myles is the dude who, man, he's like, listen, I've been Defensive Player of the Year. I'm arguably the best in the league at what I do. I got paid already, even though he said he didn't want to be in Cleveland no more. And all of a sudden, they got that check, and all of a sudden, oh wow, Cleveland looks like Cancun again, and he went back to Cleveland. Yeah, man, it's good to hear, especially from Micah's perspective. Good to hear your peers, give you that level of praise. We know that Micah and Myles have trained together. Myles Garrett and Arlington native, so he's from this area, lives in this area, trains in this area. So when you have that level of praise from your peers, that tells you all you need to know about where you stand at in the kind of pantheon of edge rushers in this league. And so Myles is no short of, he's not short of any accomplishments from that position. That's a man who is very firm in his position, and they call him Mr. Garrett when he walks in the bank. I can guarantee you that.
Firm in his position of wanting to leave Cleveland until that number came up and he said, as you said, hey, Cleveland's not so bad after all. Speaking of dollars and pocket watching, I'm looking at my phone, minding my own business a couple of days ago, and all of a sudden I see breaking news, and this is not related directly to the Cowboys, but just follow me. The Los Angeles Lakers are being sold for $10 billion.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Now, let me just put this in perspective because we know that the Dallas Cowboys Forbes valuation is the number one franchise in the world, and they are valued at over $10 billion. However, the Lakers just sold real money for, this is not a valuation, this is a real transaction, $10 billion. So something that a lot of us thought we would never see. The Buss family has held that position since 1979. Shouts out to the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss, who purchased the Lakers for $67 million back in the day. How about that return on investment? So it got us to thinking, if the Cowboys ever were to be sold, what would that number be? And would the Jones family actually ever do it? So that question is being rolled out. Jesse, you have the floor.
Do you ever ask yourself sometime when you hear a number like that, like, what does that look like in cash? Right? Like, I remember, this is a long time ago, but I remember when I first got into the league and I got my first check, right? And I remember, like, I didn't do direct deposit. I walked down every week. I walked down to accounting because I wanted to hold the check.
Right.
Okay? And I remember the first time, I don't know why I did it. I just always wanted to do it. I laid on 10 grand, right? 10 grand on the bed. And
wait, hold on. 20-second timeout. So you went to accounting.
Yeah.
You got your check. You went and cashed it, and you specifically asked for 10 racks.
Yes.
And you went home and laid it out on
In
what did
20,
you? What did you? 20?
In 20s. No, 10. No. So 10 racks in 20s.
In 20s. Okay. So tell me, number one, where you laid it out, how you laid it. Was it a twin, or did you put it on a king? Like, give me the whole story.
At that time, it was a queen. It was a queen size bed, right? And then, so I laid it out. And then as the year went on, I kept saying to myself, man, I wonder what 50 feels like. And so I got 50 out. And I did it. And then I remember coming to the Cowboys, and like my second year of the Cowboys, I was like, I wonder what 100 feels like. And I did it. And so I try to like wrap my mind around what does $1 billion look like in cash, right? And I know these transactions are different, but I'm just like, man, what would $1 billion look like just spread out, on a bed?
Let's put this in perspective. Like, even if you had Shaq's bed, I don't think that you could put
right
billion on a bed. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. I mean, you might have to go to your I don't know who our sponsor is, but whoever our mattress sponsor is, you might have to go into that store and on every mattress put a certain amount of money, and that still might not be enough for $10 billion.
Yeah, and so it gets me to thinking, man, will the Joneses ever sell the Cowboys? And that's a great question. I know for certain, absolutely 100%, unless there's something that comes out of the woodworks that, some Sterling type stuff, Jerry's not selling. He's not selling. He is not selling. He will lay in that cold body in the casket with the keys gripped of the Cowboys. And then you think, all right, maybe Steven, maybe Charlotte, maybe one of them. And you go, nah, I think they're still tied to the organization. It's those grandkids. You got to watch the grandkids. Because when you start talking about, I think if the Lakers are going for 10, I'm thinking the Cowboys got to go for around 18.
Okay.
I'm thinking 16 to $18 billion. And so you start thinking about the grandkids, right? Shy and Paxton and that crew. They may just be like, you know what? And they may do like Jeannie Buss, sell majority of it and still have some stake in it where they can move around in there as one of the family key figures. And they just might want to go, well, Granddad already got us a yacht. We already got one of them. We got Jared Force One, got one of them. We got a helicopter, we got one of them. So why don't we just bust this $18 billion down amongst us and just go live our life? We don't have to have the stress that our mom and our granddad had and our grandma had about, who's the quarterback going to be and taxes and all. We could just bust this thing down and just go live a luxurious life. So I don't know if the Jerry or his kids will sell it, but it's those grandkids that you got to look out for. This generation that's coming up now, they don't really care for things anymore. They don't want the big houses. They want to be backpacker. They want to just go travel and live their lives. So if it ever gets sold, I'm thinking it'll sell for almost double. Because you got to think it's going to be about another maybe 10 to 15 to 20 before we realistically have that conversation, if it even ever comes up. But then again, Jerry might write into the will. He might say, you know what? In the will, if you want to get any of this trust fund money that I'm leaving behind, you will not get it if you ever sell the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how all particulars that you can write in the will and what you can and cannot say, but if it's left up to Jerry, he's going to want to keep that in the family forever.
Listen, if you are a fan of the show Power, you know that Ghost had certain clauses written into that will, so his son Tariq could only get the money if he did certain things, not to go off into Power. However, you touched on a very good point. Like, we probably won't ever see this happen. However, shifting it again to basketball, we saw Mark Cuban, who said proudly many times, I'm never selling this team. I'm going to pass this along to my kids. And then one of his reasons for selling was saying he didn't want to have his kids to deal with it. Now you see the Lakers with Jeannie Buss, who is the daughter of Dr. Jerry Buss, if you're not familiar, now sell it. So I can't ever see the Cowboys and the Joneses being separated. To me, they are one and the same, and I can't ever see it happening, ever.
No, and then you look at, the Colts owner, Jim Irsay, right? He's passed away. Now his daughter is taking,
three daughters,
the reins of that organization. But again, but you look at teams like Philadelphia. One of the things that Philadelphia is doing is they're selling portions of their teams to get cash that allows them to do some of the things that they do in their signing free agents and trading and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that'll ever come about, but I do think if it does, it's gonna be the grandkids. They're gonna be the ones that are gonna like, this ain't for me. This is not for me. Maybe we keep a small portion, but I could see the grandkids selling 50% of the Dallas Cowboys, 70%, 65% of the Dallas Cowboys, whatever it is, just to kind of give themselves some cash cushion and let someone else kind of run the business. And crazier things have happened. We never thought the Lakers would be sold by the Buss family, but here we are. People just get to a point in time where they just say, you know what? I'd rather just be a fan. I don't want to be in the business. I just want to be a fan. I want to watch. I want to have my suite. I want to have some money to travel, to do what I want to do, other investments that come about. And again, who knows, right? The Joneses may sell it, and we might be selling property on Mars or Saturn or Pluto or whatever the hell we'll be going in outer space in a couple of years. They may say, you know what? We're out of here. We're going to get property on the moon, so we're going to sell half of the Cowboys.
Listen, I would love to see it happen. I just don't think it ever will. But again, hey, $10 billion. Speaking of money, we know somebody who didn't have to come off any money. We're talking about your latest wide receiver acquisition. We talked about this a couple of episodes ago. We didn't know which number George Pickens was going to end up wearing. We know that he wore number 1 in college. He wore number 14 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When he first got to the Cowboys, he had number 13, and then he finally settled on number 3. So he didn't have to break bread for number 1 and number 14. When you saw him go with the 3, what did you think?
I just always believed that those numbers don't come for free. And at the time, Dante Fowler was wearing a number 3. And so I don't know Dante Fowler personally. Maybe he's a good dude. Maybe he just says, you know what? Sure, have at it, bro. You can have number 3. But I just have my sneaky suspicion said that it just never quite goes that way. There's always some sort of, the barter system, right? The exchange of goods and services, right? You have something I want. I have something that you want. How can we make this thing right for the both of us? So whether that's a vacation, whether that's I don't know, a Honda Civic, I don't know what they'll trade out.
Wait, hold on. I mean, listen, you just told me that you got 50 racks, 100 racks. Listen, I don't think anybody in that locker room, no offense, but I don't think anybody in that locker room is going to accept a Honda Civic, bro.
He might be getting it for his niece or for college or something like that. First car. You don't want to go too big on the first car. You get them a Honda or something like that so they can just tear that up before you get them the real thing.
Nah, that's real. No, I was shocked, but I actually liked the fact that he went with number 3. I didn't really like 13. There's something about, and I know the Marvion Overshone is switching to number 0. So, and shouts out to him who just had another kid. Shouts out to him. But I do like the number 3. To me, number 3, of course, it's a quarterback number, but it's a cool number to see receivers wear.
No, it is. And it kind of has that elongated number, kind of fits his build a little bit. And I'm all for I'm a single digit guy, right? Like I wore single digits all high school, all college. You don't get that privilege when you kind of get to the league. You got to kind of get in when you fit in when you're a guy like my stature. But yeah, single digits on the wide receivers. I'm gonna tell you the truth though. I'm being honest. If I'm being honest,
all right.
If you come where I come from, Jalen Tolbert, you ain't quite good enough to be wearing number 1. I'm just saying. I'm not liking Jalen Tolbert, but there's certain numbers that are reserved for the dudes. You know what I'm saying? There's certain numbers that are reserved for dudes. And if you're not a dude, if you're not the dude or a dude, number 1 doesn't really find its way to your locker. So I'm just saying, and this is no slight at Jalen Tolbert, I'm just saying, like, you've never quite been the dude, and then you put on number 1.
I get it.
The old school in me a little bit.
Hey, Justin, where I come from, you wear a single digit, you got to be like that. Like, you really got to be able to play. Yeah. You got to be like that. So, Jalen Tolbert, if you're listening, I hope this serves as motivation to go out and show people that you are actually worthy of wearing number 1 and say, F Jesse, I'm going to go ahead and do what I do out here on this field.
And I would gladly accept that. If you go out there and you do what you got to do and you make me say, you know what, he was right, he should be wearing number 1, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to applaud you, and you can say F me all you want. I will take it. Go out there and you don't. You don't.
Oh, man. So as I began the show with, we know Micah Parsons ain't been signed yet. We want to see him signed by the 4th of July. We know that Cowboys are probably never going to get sold, even though the Lakers just got sold for $10 billion. We know that number 3 is the number for Mr. George Pickens. And all that said, training camp is just a little bit away. Listen, we're both in the Metroplex. That's Dallas-Fort Worth for those that don't know. And the temperature here is a little bit ridiculous. We don't like going outside. We're not going to come to your function unless it has air conditioning. So all that said, what are you looking forward to the most outside of the weather in California for training camp?
Listen, I get to see real football. Now, there's no more that you can sell me, Coach Schottenheimer. Everybody's not good. So everybody's not good. I'm sorry. I know that you're excited to be here, Coach Schottenheimer. You want to pump everybody up, and you want to, lift everybody's spirit. But when we get to training camp, that's when the men separate themselves from the boys. And ain't no more underwear Olympics. There's no more, holding hands and trying to explain. No, it's pedal to the metal, and I get to have a realistic look on every single player on this football team, and I get to have a realistic opinion on what this football team will trend to be when I get to training camp. I like when the pads come on. Ain't no hide when the pads come on. And I ain't talking about all that hit. You ain't got to do all that hit stuff. That's fine. But I get to see real football being played. I get to look at guys and go, oh, he going to be all right. He ain't going to be all right. That person going to be big for us this year. He might be looking for a new address later on this month. So that's the part that I really look forward to seeing when I get to training camp.
No, absolutely. You get to see who actually is like that when everybody goes live. I'm looking forward to it as well. And I said anything but the weather, but I'm definitely looking forward to that California breeze. I'm looking forward to actually seeing some of the fans. It's been a while since I've been to training camp. But again, I'm looking to see who's going to be out there. Who are the dogs? Like, who are the dogs that we need to be writing down? Like you said, yeah, he's going to be doing something, and this dude's going to be doing something else in a different city. So I can't wait for training camp.
No, absolutely. And then, there's, Malibu, I might fly,
might slide.
If you twist my arm, I might go find myself somewhere down there in Malibu. If you twist my arm, I don't just say twist my arm.
Right. Well, we can't wait. We still got a little bit of time before training camp begins. Bro Parrish and Jesse Holly, it's time for us to get out of here. This is our time. We appreciate you. Make sure you tell a friend about what we're doing here. Bleav in Cowboys. That's all I got. That's my time. Jesse, leaving with some words.
You already know what it is, man. Remember, as we're ending out Mental Health Month, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, fellas, take care of your mentals and your dentals, man, for real. Like, get the help if you need the help. Talk to somebody if you need to talk to somebody. But please do not suffer and walk this walk alone. There are brothers here who are with you. I am one of them. I want to let you know that I'm available to you. I don't have all the answers, but sometimes if you just need somebody to be there with you, to cry with you, I will be that for you. And make sure you're checking on your strong friends, man. With that, I always said, man, remember, eliminate the contingencies.
There it is. Love, respect, and salute.